Welcome, everyone. Definitely appreciate everyone's time today. I know everyone has busy schedules. So want this to be as productive as possible for you and your teammates here. If there's any questions, please shoot them over to us. We'll be happy to answer those as we go through the webinar. As Amy mentioned here, the subject that we picked for today was increasing productivity with your business through Sage Field Operations and really maximizing your investment. I believe most of the contractors on today are using Sage 300 Construction or the Timberline software. So Justin, who will be doing the demo here in a little bit, we'll kind of walk through how it's really a true extension of your software in the accounting side. And we hear all the time from our clients that they're looking to be more productive out in the field. They're looking to streamline those operations from the field to the office. We know a lot of the contractors out there are still doing things their ways that they might have been doing for some time now. So every day we're talking to more and more contractors that are looking to modernize, optimize, and improve their situation. So quick intro here. Again, my name's Eric. I'm with the Sage Field Operations team on the sales team here. Been in the Sage world for over a handful of years now, so definitely know some of the areas that you guys are looking to improve, and hopefully we can hit on some today. I'll hand it off to Justin for a quick intro here.
Good afternoon or morning, depending where you are. Thanks everybody for joining. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen now so you can see the actual software.
Justin, we had a couple other slides to just hit on, if that's okay.
Do you want to hit through those and then I'll, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So real quick before Justin dives in, as mentioned, productivity, I know there's a lot of challenges that the contractors are dealing with today, but productivity or manual processes, duplicate data entry, really all those timely tasks really have started to bottle up and become a huge part of lower productivity for contractors like yourself. So today in Justin's demo, we're going to kind of walk through what that looks like with the field operations product. Amy, next slide there. So really that disconnected between the field and the office, we're looking to improve in these three main areas: communicating, integrating, and creating. So what does that mean? Obviously, dispatching and scheduling, having that visibility where your team is, and best maximizing and optimizing how they're going to go about their day. We hear all the time contractors having to call the office and see what certain site history and equipment history looks like. Justin will touch upon what that looks like in the software. So they'll have it in their mobile devices at any time to be more efficient. Integrating from anything from quotes to work orders to, as we mentioned before, minimizing that duplicate data entry with timesheets and payroll. You'll see how it really becomes more of a review process for your accounting team. And then in the end, we're creating stronger reporting, stronger business decisions, and really a better experience for your clients. And in effect, you're able to bill out faster and have more predictability over the cash flow as you continue to grow your business. So those are the main areas that we're going to concentrate on. But with that being said, I'll hand it off to Justin.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. And I am going to share my screen now. As you can tell, I was just really excited to share that with everybody, so I couldn't wait to show you the software. Now, should be able to see my screen. And as Eric mentioned, we're going to go through high level. We can always do a follow-up demo that anybody's interested in, kind of get into the details, but really want to concentrate on those, that streamlined approach of visibility from the field, visibility from the office, understanding what folks are doing, where they are, what history, as Eric mentioned. So I like to start on the dispatch scheduler, and here, we have a real-time view of really whatever's going on in the field. So if you look, as an example, I'm looking at Jay here, and I see this green color for an assignment, and that means that he's actually working on that work order assignment right now. I can also see that he's got an urgent priority coming up of another call that I'm going to schedule him for after. As you can see, when I hover over, I'm really kind of seeing the detail of the call. So I can see the, that it's urgent. I can see the work order number. I can see any kind of notes that they put in. So as they start putting in notes on these work orders, I have that visibility as well. Any of these e-cards that I click on, I'm going to be able to see right away more detail of this work order. So here I can see all the folks that are assigned to it. I can see which ones are started, which ones are completed. If I go to my overview tab, any of the notes that have been added, not only just for today, but any time on the work order, I can see those right away. And these are those same notes that you very well could be either kind of doing the data entry today in service management and kind of adding those notes to the work order. Now, technicians are doing that in the field right away, that I can see them here in the dispatching area, but I also would see them right away in Sage. Or if you had added any notes in Sage, I right away see those in service management. So if you had any internal notes, more detail about the work that you wanted to send over to the technician, you have that ability to add the notes, and we would see them right away in Sage Field Operations. We also have like an attachment area to add scope of work and things like that. So not only do the technicians kind of have those notes back and forth, but you have the ability to log into Sage Field Operations and add a kind of documentation and things like that to a work order that they would see right away. If I click on the location, I'm going to right away see the history of this location. And not only does the office have the ability to see the history, but the folks in the field do as well. A little bit about my background before I started working for Oprix, which I've been here for 10 years. I worked for a mechanical contractor in the Boston area. And, one of the biggest complaints we always got was, that lack of visibility of history, right? The guys would be calling around trying to figure out, hey, Bobby, were you here last? Especially if it's something that's on call after hours and we can't just call the office to figure out what was going on. They would kind of go into those calls, those emergency calls, and really not know what was done last. Now at their fingertips, they have the ability to see this information. They could even click on any of these work orders and get to the notes and the details of those work orders, what parts we use, things like that. Talking about equipment history, any equipment that's attached to the location, we're going to see that equipment. We have the ability to add that equipment. So now we don't have to rely on the office adding that stuff in service management. I can add it here in Sage Field Operations, and it's automatically added in service management for you as well. So on the fly, a technician in the field can kind of get that information right into the office. So just think of that time savings. I used to have a stack of paperwork of all the equipment that I needed to add to locations, that now that goes away because we can put that responsibility on the technicians, and that flows right into service management, into Sage. Here I could, here's an example of starting a new piece of equipment and being able to add all that information. So model and serial number, any kind of warranty information. You can actually kind of talk about when you remove a piece of equipment as well. So just all this stuff is updating in real time into service management. I'm going to go back to the location. Also within here, just thinking about visibility and, what do I know about this customer before I get there? Well, we can also see quotes. Have we sent out that quote that the customer is asking about? Has it been approved? What was that quote? You can see here really quickly all the quotes that have been, approved at this location. So now technician could also see the details of this and say, yep, I can see that it was approved. I can actually get those parts. Or, hey, it looks like we sent you a quote last week and it doesn't look like it's approved. Is this something you want to approve now? They could actually open up the quote if with the right privileges, and they could actually approve it on the fly, and you could do the work. So just again, that information that used to they have to call up in the office, now you're seeing that information, in real time. They don't have to call the office. They still can, but they don't have to. You can also see things like agreements. Are they on an agreement, or is it expired? And we can see here that this location doesn't have any agreements today that are current, right? These are all expired agreements. So there's just, again, that visibility of what type of customer this, if they do have an agreement or not. I'm going to really see that, right away. Just clicking a button there, and I can see that really quickly. If you happen to be an HVAC company out there, we actually do have a refrigerant tracker as well. EPA rules today, got to kind of track what goes in, what goes out of those pieces of equipment. We have a full refrigerant tracking system within the product as well. I'm going to jump into kind of the technician view now, just so we kind of see that. So I'm going to go to the assignment page. We're going to make this look like a phone so everybody can see what this would look like in the field. Today, we've got over 30,000 users using the product, and of those 30,000, 65% are using the phone. And you can see here, I'm looking on Tuesday, we can see yesterday, Jay, for whatever reason, had a meeting for a long time, but then he also worked overtime. Another thing about, Sage Field Operations is so far I've talked a lot about work orders, we actually have the ability to schedule out not only a work order, but a job assignment that goes straight towards a job and also a miscellaneous assignment. So we can really cover kind of all three different ways that you would have to assign something to someone and also record time. So, the PTO and vacation could be a miscellaneous entry. If you want someone to go do work on a job that, and not have to create a work order. I know how we can create a work order that's attached to a job in Sage 300 in service management. You have the ability to do that without having to attach the job. You could just create a job assignment, and that user can put time towards it, 2 hours, 4 hours, so they can actually punch in and punch out. A little further down, you can see we're on our current day. As a technician, I can see which one I started working on. I hit start here so we can see that at 12:23 this was started. I have the ability to go into this work order and update that status. So I'm just going to pop in here to the assignment section, and I'm going to complete this one. As soon as I complete this, the assignment on the dispatch scheduler, whether if you're in service management and looking at this, or if you're looking at that dispatch schedule that I showed you at the beginning in Sage, it's updating in real time. So if we go back, we now look at this and we go back to that scheduler, we're going to see, right away that Jay is done with that call that he was just working on. Now, I also, say we know Jay is working on this next one and he forgot to start the call. As that dispatcher, I could come in here and I could quickly just start this so that I know which one he's working on. This view here, I'm looking at the week view right now. You actually have the ability to have a day view. So if you're really kind of more focused on the scheduled time and you want to see those times at the top, you can see those and when they're scheduled. I have a next 2-week view, so if I wanted to start scheduling things out to the next week, maybe Jay's working on this one. He's like, oh, I know this is going to be this is going to be work for today and tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to get to anything else. I could drag that other assignment to a different schedule, different day, and reschedule that for someone. Now Jay would see that on next Monday as opposed to today. It removes it right from his schedule as well. Jumping back to that technician view, just again, kind of thinking about all the areas that really help that efficiency. Technicians are also seeing their time for the week, right? This weekly time, whether I'm on the phone or I'm on the office view, it's doing the daily total, so they see their total hours for each day throughout the day and out the week. And down the bottom here, you can see exactly how many hours they have for the week, and you can actually see that this person submitted their time, and they'll know when it kind of gets submitted. But as far as the time goes, I'm adding the time here in Sage Field Operations. It's automatically going to edit time entry in service management right away. We're not going to send it all the way to payroll because we want to make sure someone's checking, making sure everything looks good before you reconcile it in service management and move it over to payroll. But in real time, it's going there. What we're doing with this time submission is we're really creating that electronic timesheet so that someone in the office is getting that sign off. Hey, this is what I agree to my hours for the week, and the sign off. So that we can, review that with the hours that we think the technician or, person in the field is getting paid, or the hours that they've, accrued over that week. You can also, from within here, you can quickly see, and this one would have been awesome when I was doing like the coordinator or managing those folks in the field. I can quickly jump to my time summary view. And anybody that I'm responsible for, I'm going to see if they're putting in time like they're supposed to, each day, not waiting until the end of the week and kind of doing that creative writing. On Monday, I was here, I worked 2 hours in this, and then, I did 4 hours in this work order. You're going to see right away if everybody's putting in their time, throughout the week. And if you see like Donald here, it's Thursday, Donald hasn't done anything this week. I know Donald's working. Hey, Donald, you got to put in your time. Or I could see at the end of today, hey, has everybody put in their time for today? And then, of course, I can see the, the weekly total as well. I also have the ability in that time review world to see in more of a granular view. So if you have folks that need to approve time before someone in the office is kind of giving it that final reconciliation, from the field or from my house, anywhere you can log in, I can go in and see my team members, and I can go through their time and I can approve it. I could edit it, say there was something off that I wanted to adjust. I could come in here and change, this one's going straight towards a job, and I can see, hey, it was supposed to be this cost code instead of that, and I could update the cost code, resave this. This is changing in Sage automatically right away too. So again, thinking about that efficiency, instead of, absorbing that information, however you're absorbing it today, some people, we still talk to them, they're on paper. You have to do all that data entry into Sage. Now that stuff is going in there automatically, and now it becomes more of a review an edit if needed kind of process, as opposed to having to get all that data in there. Thinking about efficiency again on the technician side, I'm going to jump over to one of the work orders and kind of open that up a little bit more. They have the ability to add notes, which we talked about already. But one of the ways that they can add notes is they can actually go to notes and add what we call our canned responses. And that's just a way to quickly write something down without having to actually type it. We could have these standard descriptions. So if I go into this work order here that you can see I'm working on, this urgent one, and I know it's urgent, by the way, by the color on the left. But if I go into my notes tab, I have two places to add the notes, but I have this canned response section. So if I wanted to right away let someone know or type something out as opposed to having to type out all the information, I can click that canned response and it types it out for me. And I've got that customer viewable section. So this is what the customer is going to see on the service report at the end. I also have that internal notes section, just like in Service Manager and Sage, we have those two spots. Any of these notes that I add, if I wanted to get some of these notes to someone in the office right away, with one click or a couple clicks, depending on who I want it to go to, I could add notes in both sections. Like one, maybe I want to let my billing person know that this is ready for, this is complete and ready for invoicing. I submit this, notes are automatically going to Sage, and two people just got an email with these notes, and they actually have a link within that email that would go right to this work order. But they would get those automatically. You can see those notes just went in October 5th, along with it going into Sage. But say there's, customer wants to talk to the manager, and we want to send a note quickly instead in front of the customer to that manager, and that manager could call the customer without having to pick up the phone in front of them. We also have, an attachments field. And again, I talked about that a little bit at the beginning. Maybe you want to add scope of work and any kind of documentation about the job. You could add that to the work order. But the technician also has the ability to come in, and they could add notes. They could add an attachments right here on the fly as well. So I could come in here. I could hit add attachment, choose file. I'm just going to grab this nice looking sunset. This is Cape Cod, Mass. And they just added a picture to the work order. So how about that scenario where we want to kind of prove, hey, this is what it looked like when we got here to the customer. This is what it looked like when we left. We could add those pictures, and then when we're creating the service report for the customer to sign off on, come in here, I'm going to hit create service report. If I want to embed that picture that I just took, or pictures, I can actually embed up to 4 pictures within here, but I can add those pictures right to the service report as well. So now customer's going to see the detail. They're going to see any parts or time that's been added to the job. And then a little further down, this is where a customer signs off. We have it set up right now where the technician can sign off as well. And when this is saved, this is automatically going to that customer. And it's pulling in that information from the contact area within Sage and Service Management. So I don't even have to type that in. Again, thinking of that time savings, I don't have to type that in. I can hit accept. Any other kind of documents or attachments that we added to this work order, I could send out as well. This one is, I've already kind of embedded that sunset in here, so I'm not going to add it again, but I could send that right out to the customer. Another efficiency area, this is a scenario that definitely happened to me back in the day, but in my world, there was always like checklists and maintenance sheets and things like that the technicians needed to do in the field. And getting that information back sometimes for the technicians or understanding if it's been completed or if they've done it was always a challenge. Also, along with that, sometimes certain areas weren't filled out and things like that. I came from an HVAC world, and there were certain times a year that you had to do the startup on that piece of equipment, for the season. And we would want to go through that spring checklist to make sure that the AC is going to work for the summer. Well, we have also at our fingertips the ability to add any kind of those forms or checklists that we want to associate with a location or a work order, or we want this option for any customer. I can fill out I can create a form within Sage Field Operations, and they have access to these forms. And now I can see if they're filling them out when they're supposed to. They can also get automatically emailed to someone in the office as they fill it out. So just in this example, we're going to go to this replacement checklist form. So this is one that we've created, and we can see that this is fairly an extensive form, but you can see here there's write-in areas. It automatically does pull in the information about the work order, so they're not having to type that in. Any of these fields that I want to, I could actually make required. Think about this on the phone, just so you kind of see what it looks like. I think it actually even looks a little nicer on the phone. So here's an example here. They can't complete this form unless this piece here is filled out, because we see this little asterisk next to the minimum circuit amps. So they would have to write that down before they could save this. And we can have drop downs where we're checking yes or no. We can have write-ins. We can add rows if we had to have more detail. A little further down, you can see a whole bunch of write-in sections. We can actually add pictures to this as well. We can add a signature, so we can have a sign-off. If you think about something like maybe a safety toolbox talk that you want your team to fill out, they could fill that out without in the product. Everybody could sign off on it. It's a document that's saved, within the system. So just trying to think of those ways to really kind of have, for one, everything in one centralized location where if I'm in the office or the field, I know what to look for, but also understanding when people are doing things throughout the day, throughout the week, to make sure that I'm on top of the team in the field and making sure that they're on top of their stuff so that we're getting that stuff in real time. If you think about it, if you have a work order, you go out, you do the repair, you get the customer sign off on it, and we've got all the information. Maybe we even took some of those pictures. We can create a purchase order from here as well. But if I have all that information, I can bill right away. I'm not waiting for paperwork now to come back. It's already there. All the information I need is there. The forms also have a feature where, say it's something that they, it's the end of the day, they haven't completed whatever they're working on, they have to go back tomorrow. You can give them the ability to kind of save this as a draft as well, and they can come in the next day and continue it. So just giving them that flexibility, but at the same time, when they submit it, if they haven't filled out certain areas, it's going to say, hey, you have to fill that out. We can actually make these forms required before they complete their service call. So just another thing, hey, this has to be filled out while we're out there. They can't complete it until they fill it out. So now we're not having to go back a second time to get information to fill out that form. Just trying to think of all the ways that it really does streamline the process. Last piece I want to talk about is quotes. And we can come into the quotes tab here as a salesperson, and I could start a new quote. I can also take any of the quotes that we've got in the system already here that you can see, and I could export that to Excel if I wanted to kind of slice and dice the data more. But just look kind of the quick things you see here. You see, the estimated hours, you see the total sale, you can see the gross margin and profit. So just quickly, I can see a lot about these quotes without having to drill into them. As a manager, if I wanted to see, show me all the stuff that's been submitted, because I want to understand when we submitted it and how long, I could filter this down and say, hey, this one here I think was actually, this one, this one was in January and we still haven't got it completed. So we probably should reach out to this customer like, hey, are you going to do this? Probably in a nice way, but that example, I want to have a constant ticker and understand what quotes are going out, what status they're in. We have actually a dashboard, and we see a lot of service managers and folks in the office that just kind of really have that high level view of what's going on out there in the field. We have a dashboard where we can see in real time all the new quotes that are coming in. We can also have one, and you can make a lot of these, but these are kind of examples. I have one here where it's saying, hey, I want to see all the work orders that go from open to completed. I want a constant ticker of that. And if you think about your invoicing person, yes, they could have just got an email from a technician saying, hey, this was done and ready to bill. But I'm also going to see all those work orders that go to completed status. And as that office person, I could jump in and I could invoice this. And we actually can invoice through Sage Field Operations. You can do the invoicing still in service management, but you can go to the office view of this with the right settings to set. Technician just can't go to the office view. But within here, you guys are used to using service management, and this has that similar look, but I can see the register. I could update the register if there are any register items here. I also have the ability, once this is reviewed, to turn it into an invoice. So I'm going to just quickly go to one of my work order views, show you one with the register that actually does have something on it. So we see this one here for $150. So I'm going to click into that work order. And if I come over here, this one here, I could start creating a purchase order, and I could also do the invoicing from here. But here we can see all the different items. We can see if it has been invoiced. Here, this one actually has been invoiced, is why it wouldn't let me. I've already invoiced this one. One that hadn't been invoiced, it would give me the invoice option. This is like a very small piece of what we can do within Sage Field Operations, but I just kind of wanted to touch, as many areas as I can. If you are that type of company that has service and construction, we do also have access to the job side of Sage 300 CRE. So if I wanted to, quickly, if I go to this Northwest Foods as an example, and I want to see exactly where we are, to the minute on how much time has gone towards this job, per cost code, I can click on this little job estimate section, and I can see my estimated hours. I can see all my unposted hours that haven't been posted yet towards the different cost codes towards that job, and I can also see the variance. So if you think about how it works in Sage, we're not usually seeing those, those unposted hours, and we're not really seeing and we don't see the hours cost to the job until after it processes through payroll. So that kind of that midweek view, right? I want to see, are we on track? We even have things like production units where we can see, how much of what we've got completed. And just like a work order, you have the ability to, for one, add attachments. You also have the ability, like we see this job safety form here, just like in a work order, I can pull up a form and fill it out here as well. So if I do want that, every morning I want to make sure you do the safety form before you start work on the job site. I have the ability to fill that out. Within the job itself, not only do we have the forms, but we can fill out things like daily field reports. So go back to that Northwest Foods. In here, you can see a bunch of daily field reports that have been filled out, but I can, what happened today in the job, who was there. Again, I can add attachments. I can actually create an RFI from here. So if there's a new request for information, again, we talked about the production units. We can see any work orders that were attached to the job. So just think about all these things that we just looked at in one centralized location. And once, folks are trained up on this, I'm in the office and I'm looking for information, I've got that one spot now, and also if I'm in the field. So I want to leave a little time for folks that, if there's any questions that have come up or anything like that. So please feel free to, ask away.
Do we have any questions? If you do have a question, please go ahead and use the chat feature.
And if not, this is going to be sent out so someone can review this. And also if someone, wants to kind of go into it in more in depth, happy to set up a time to do a demo as well.
So thank you again, Justin, for your time today to explain SFO in depth. I think that was a great overview. If anyone has any questions, you will be receiving a copy of the recording in an email from me today or tomorrow. Your sales rep will be copied on that email, and you can reach out to them with any questions you have or reach out to Justin. And we thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Justin. Have a good day.
Have a good one, Amy. Bye-bye.
Bye.